Hi everybody, and so this video is specifically going over AI for business owners, and my goal is to present you with 5 questions and of course 5 answers related to AI evaluation, implementation, and training. So basically like all of the upfront questions that you would ask yourself as a business owner related to AI. And a lot of these, I think, are questions that you would not think to ask yourself, and that's the goal within this, right? Is to educate you with regards towards not the questions that you think that you should ask, but the actual questions that you should be asking when you are diving into these things. If I were on the call with you or on site with you, these are the questions that I would be asking on your behalf. And then so just diving into that for you specifically. And then so as we dive into that, question number 1 is related to how exactly and when exactly and in what situations you should utilize AI. And I'm going to give you a far different approach than if you ask this question to an AI model or if you ask this question to like most people within Silicon Valley. And then like most people are going to pitch like self-driving cars and things like that, right? And then I'm going to say you stay far away from those things. We're going to keep this equation a lot more simplistic than that. And we're going to go with the equation that's going to be the opposite of what an LLM model will tell you on this, which is that if you're looking for more precision overall, like 99.999995% accuracy is most important to you, then you want to stay away from AI in general. If you want more creativity, more prediction, more analytics, more time scale, like a classification, those types of things, and you're okay with some degree of inaccuracy, like you're not looking for 5 nines of degree of accuracy, then those are the types of situations where you should be looking more towards AI for those more creative tasks. So like on a finance level, I would be staying away from AI. And then like the reason why like LM models will like kind of shy away from this question is because like healthcare and the medical industry, there is a huge opportunity and play for AI. And I think like that's different for a lot of reasons, very specifically because a lot of that ties into math. And I don't want to get into that very deeply, but I think like healthcare and the medical industry is a standout from this. But finance is what I mean for this. Like I think it's bad, very bad to bring AI models into a finance industry. Like you don't want that overall into marketing and like sales enablement. Like those are more kind of like more industries in customer service overall, like where you're okay with more leniency in the answers. And that's where AI in its particular and current states shines overall for business owners. And then so as we go in now, question number 2 is how many steps overall are there in completing the task? And I think that this is a question that business owners, they don't think of or to ask when it comes to projects and AI. They think like, can I automate it? Can I utilize AI to automate it? And then the very first question is like, what's the actual task involved? And then like the the simplest way that I can break this down to you is that like, so when most people think of automating it, they think of it like making the AI model making a function call, right? Like calling a website to make an edit on the website, for example. So then and then most people would think of that as one task. Right? I want it to make a function call. Making a function call in this instance, when we're breaking it down on this level, is 3 tasks right there. You need to plan the task, understand the task, and execute the task. 3 tasks. And then so within that, there's you have to understand that to get more complex than that, it gets really hard. Like you're starting to add more and more layers. And then so if it's a very like repetitive, like flip a burger 50 million times, that's cool. Can be good at that, right? Like something very repetitive overall, no problem. You start adding lots of variation. You start going outside of like narrow focus and narrow training areas. That's where you start getting into more problems and more problematic the more generalized you get. And AI is getting better at solving that problem, more and more generalized overall, but it is still a generalization problem. Question number 3 is, like, to me, like, this is the very first one and one of the upfront questions that you should be asking yourself, and every business owner should be asking themselves. And like, I like every single call that I have with business owners around this question, I always put them on the spot every single time when I ask them this question, and like, they don't know it up front, right? Which is like, okay, I go through my process. Okay, like, what do you want the model to do? And then, so, okay, now we want it to do this in this perfect world. How much data do you have to do it? Like, can you give me the data to actually train the model on it? And it's like, oh, I don't know. And then it's that's the most fundamental question that you need to be asking yourself up front. Like, whatever the task is that you want it to do, how simply, like, how many steps in that process is it? And then, do you have the data and a large quantity of repetitive amounts of data to train the model on whatever it is that repetitive task is? And then, like, if the answer is yes, then more AI overall. If the answer is no, then you need more data. And then this is, like, just the bottom line, right? Like, a more powerful model isn't going to make up for less data. It's actually the opposite problem. Like, there's no way to escape the data problem. These models are more data than anything else. So, like, you cannot escape this equation. And then, so this should be the number one thing that you should be asking yourself up front. And this is the number one part of your moat, which I'll get into in a few slides here. So I'll just leave it there for this slide. And then let's go into question number 4. Question number 4 is, and I bring this up, like, I think that this answer will surprise a lot of people. It's the answer of like, owning versus renting. And then, like, within this, it's how expensive are the model usage, and then most people and most business owners, you're very acquainted and accustomed to, like, a SaaS model, right? Like a monthly fee. Here's the monthly fee and the per monthly fee for whatever it is that we're going to utilize, and that's going to be the end of it. But, like, with AI, and there's not a way around it. So I think more and more providers of AI are going to start charging based off of inference directly, meaning based off of the number of tokens and the number of usage. And then, so they're going to pass it on. And so I think you're going to see more and more this new billing model overall. And then, so within this billing model, it's cost per token and cost per million tokens. And, like, you want to get that into your head. That's the number one thing that you want to pay attention to. When you do that, you see some very surprising things, when you break down the math on it, it's very expensive to use GPT-4 Turbo is basically the bottom line. Like, the bottom line is there's any other model that you would want to use besides GPT-4 Turbo is a much better model to go with overall, and a much cheaper model to go with overall. And you can find far cheaper models as far as cost per million tokens in that regard. But the thing to highlight overall is that doesn't transfer over to fine-tuning costs, right? It's not expensive to fine-tune a model. And that's the last thing that I want to highlight on this with this particular question is that it's like, if you have the data and you know exactly what you want to do, and it's not a lot of steps, so it's repetitive, and then you can train the model, you have a trained model on it. That's basically it. And it's not going to be a lot of money and a lot hard for you to do it from there. And then, so this brings us to question number 5, and I alluded to this kind of a few slides up. And then, so should I wait for new models to drop rather than invest now? And this is kind of like a big question I get asked quite frequently, right? Which is, is there advantage in waiting as opposed to waiting for, like, GPT-5 if I'm investing in GPT-4, etc., right? And it's, well, like, with AI, you're not investing in the model. Right, going back up through everything that I've talked about within this particular video, and then if you watch any of my other videos, it's always about data, the data over the models, right? Like, so it's AI flips that equation on its head. You're not investing, when you're investing in AI, you're not making an investment directly into a model. You're investing directly into getting your data prepped and ready, and all of the things and all the steps that you need to execute with regards towards training a model. And so once you have done those steps. As long as you do it right and you did it replicable, then you have data that you can always add on to, and you can like no matter what model comes out, you can flip on a dime, right? So if you trained it, you went through, you have all of your trained data, and you have all the data that you have for GPT-4. The day that GPT-5 comes out, you can flip the switch. Whereas the person that waited, they're in the same boat that they were with GPT-4 or GPT-5, right? So there is an advantage to not waiting, and that's what people don't understand. That's the part of the equation that people don't get, I think, within this, is that like and that's what I try to instill in people. And then a lot of people, they think it's like the snake oil argument, or like trying to like be like a tech bro or whatever. But it's like there is, like, for the first time ever, incentive within AI to invest in your IT department. Like, I can't make it more simplistic than that. Like, normally and typically when you look at IT investments, I've been in IT for a quarter of a decade, for like 25 years almost. It's a loss, right? Like, it's IT sits in the L side of the P&L, and then so this is the very first time in the equation where it's like, hey boss, hey person, you don't, like, it's IT can sit in the P side for the very first time of this equation. And if you invest in this, you can actually make money, make new products for the business by investing in your IT. Like, to me, that's the most smoking deal on the planet. So I don't understand why people aren't falling over themselves for that deal. But that's how I look at these things overall. And then, so 5 questions that every business owner should be asking themselves related to AI. If you like this type of content, please like and subscribe. Thank you very much.